The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Full Melt.
In several states, the question of whether marijuana should be legal was put to voters, and many voters said yes. Pot now is legal for recreational or medicinal use in more than half the country, but it is still against federal law. It's also still banned in professional sports. Many athletes hope that changes as marijuana support grows, especially in the NFL, where marijuana could offer a better way to manage the pain that often affects athletes. Here's NPR's Tom Goldman.
Football hurts. As a fan watching, it's not always obvious. Players collide, fall down, pop back up, rarely wincing or showing weakness. It's the football way.
And the offensive line, Orlando Pace and Kyle Turley, the test.
In his 8 NFL seasons beginning in the 1990s, offensive lineman Kyle Turley was involved in jarring collisions nearly every play when his team had the ball. He hurt after his career. He sometimes walks with a cane. And in this video from last year, Turley displayed one by one bottles of the powerful painkillers he used.
Vicodin, Flexerol, Percocets, Vioxx, morphine.
Turley says he became addicted to the drugs and thought about suicide. Then last year, he quit the prescription painkillers and replaced them with marijuana.
Just this right here, that's all you need. That's about 2 hits.
The video is from a website for the Gridiron Cannabis Coalition. Turley helped start the group as a way to promote marijuana as a legal option for pain management in football. The effort may be gaining traction as the country's acceptance of pot grows. George Atala is an executive with the NFL Players Association. He says in the next couple of weeks, the union will form a committee to examine pain issues for players.
Certainly, given some of the medical research that's out there, marijuana is going to be one of the substances that we take a look at.
As it should be, says pain specialist Daniel Claw. He's a University of Michigan professor of anesthesiology who's studied cannabis and pain management for the past 5 years. He says it's no contest when you compare the safety of marijuana and the narcotic painkillers known as opioids that Kyle Turley and so many other NFL players have had to use. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2014, more than 14,000 people died from overdoses involving prescription opioids. Here's Dr. Claw.
You can't directly die from taking a cannabinoid the way tens of thousands of people are directly dying from opioids each year in the U.S.
Cannabinoids are the active components in marijuana. Dr. Claw published a study this year showing cannabis also was more effective than opioids for managing chronic pain. Subjects in the study noted they felt a lot better using cannabis and experienced fewer side effects. Dr. Claw says marijuana isn't the only option for pain relief, nor is it a perfect alternative to opioids. Cannabis can be addictive, although much less so than narcotic painkillers. The NFL bans marijuana and suspends a player after 4 violations. A written statement from the league says it would be open to reconsidering its policy, which it collectively bargained with the union. But for now, the league's medical experts haven't recommended any changes.
I don't know where they're getting their medical experts.
Again, Dr. Claw.
But I don't know hardly anyone in the pain field that would be able to support the position that the NFL is taking based on just scientific data.
When asked to provide one of its experts for an interview, an NFL spokesman said, quote, "They don't speak to the media." Meanwhile, the pro football season rolls on. The hurting continues. For players, the search continues for better and safer ways not to hurt. Tom Goldman, NPR News.
It's the Full Melt Show.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
It's the Full Melt Show, a marijuana discussion about news, culture, and entertainment. It's celebrity interviews, talks with politicos. Plus, your calls are on the air. Download the Full Melt app, free at the Apple and Android app stores. The Full Melt Show.
Holy crap. We're back for, what is this? Is this a Tuesday? It's Tuesday already. Good Lord. I'm Steve Green. Welcome to the Full Melt Show. Crazy business happening in the world of sports. I would suggest that it's probably not only going to be the NFL that struggles with the problem of marijuana on the playing field. I mean, do you bring stuff like non-contact sports, so-called non-contact sports like basketball in? What about baseball players? Are baseball players allowed to use marijuana? It's all going to be a very good question. Let's see if we got a very good answer from Wendy. Hello, Wendy.
Hey. Hi, Steve.
How are you today?
I'm great.
So, kind of touching on the subject of sports and cannabis medicine today. If you want to join in on the conversation, if you've got to say so in what's going on, maybe we happen to be in luck and there's a professional player listening. I don't know. 248-278-8067. 248-278-8067 is the number here to the studio. Wendy, have you ever played sports?
Well, listen, I wanted a recap of that because I was wondering, are they talking about CTE? I didn't hear the whole. Hear the whole clip. So I know a lot about CTE that's associated with cannabis. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no. The direct answer to your question is no. It has nothing to do with necessarily just specifically CTE. This is just about sports medicine as a whole.
Well, what they say, because I missed that part.
Oh, good. I'm not going to go back over it. There's nothing we can do about that right now.
Summarize.
The idea here is that the people who are in the world of the NFL are now being kind of forced to look at cannabis as a pain reliever. They talked to an expert there that was at the University of Michigan that's been studying this for 5 years, saying that the medical efficacy and the risk of addiction or other problems related to opiate medication, for example, it's risk of death. If you can overdose on the opiates or the opioids. Do you know the difference between an opiate and an opioid?
No.
So an opiate is going to be, it kind of has almost a pejorative term. An opiate is part of the raw drug, right? So if you're getting an opiate, it's coming from opium. It's a derivative of opium. An opioid is manufactured.
I gotcha. One's natural, one's made in a lab.
Correct. So if you're using, if you see somebody that died from opiates in the medical examiner's report, it indicates heroin. It's indicative of. He died from a natural substance.
What about fentanyl? How does that fit in?
Fentanyl is an opioid.
Okay.
So fentanyl is one of the subcategories of opium. It's one of the derivatives of opium, but in a manufactured way. They don't derive fentanyl itself from raw opium. They synthesize it in the laboratory. So the doctor's saying that, opioid medication for NFL people creates long-term pain use and addicts. And, they didn't go to that specifically, but they're talking about that generally. I really don't want to go over because I'm going to train off into all kinds of other stuff. I'm just going to go off and it's going to defocus me. If I try to recap the whole thing, it was a 4-minute piece. There were interviews and a lot of people. There's no way I could recap it. The general idea is the NFL is now being forced to moderate its position, is starting to look at, but it hasn't yet approved any changes in its policy. Now, do you understand how the NFL manages cannabis? Do you understand what the controversy is there?
Oh, a little bit. I think they ban it, don't they?
Well, it is banned, but it's pseudo-banned.
Pseudo-banned. What does that mean?
So it's kind of like saying, well, we won't pick up your mail without a stamp, but then picking up the mail without a stamp. So here's what goes on. The NFL and the players' union's official position on this is it's a banned substance, and that if you're caught with it in your system, that there will be a retribution from the NFL on it. They're gonna fine you, they're gonna suspend you, and they're gonna keep testing you. Kind of like any other policy in the drug workplace or in the workplace with drugs. However, the players' union and both management management particularly, has secretly acknowledged off the record that there's no way that they could field a team if they didn't allow cannabis use. Now, this is a broad statement. This isn't just a particular team. This is the entire league. They couldn't field a single team if they got rid of everybody that used cannabis. Not one. And so the way that they've handled this is in the following way. They've made an agreement with the players' union. So the players' union says, all right, well, then if you're going to drug test us for illicit substances, then we want you to do it all at the same time. Everybody gets drug tested at the same time. And so you guys pick the time, let us know the time, and then that's when we all get drug tested. Now, if you turn positive, if you test positive on that test, they're going to sanction you, fine you, probably suspend you, take you off the players roster for a while, not get paid for a while, or if you do get paid, some of it's going to go back in the form of a fine. In the long run, they keep testing you. They're going to keep testing you routinely to make sure that you're not in violation of the team's substance policy. The problem is that they tell everybody in advance when it's going to be, and it's always the same time. It's when it's in April. It's when they're.
Why is that a problem?
Well, because they all go clean. They all clean up for a month, make sure there's nothing in their system. They go through their drug test. They all test positive or test negative. The moment they test negative, they go out and they start smoking weed because they're not going to get tested the rest of the year.
Weed's the best thing they could do for your body. That's
What?
the best thing they could do. It's such a hypocrisy.
No. It is hypocrisy. It's the worst thing they could do. The best thing they could do is stand up for what it is instead of hiding behind the secrecy of an invalid rule.
Yeah.
They're makeshifting it. They're faxing it in. They're pretending for the sake of the game because they want to call it a family-friendly game, right? They want young people looking up to these athletes as heroes. They want young people looking up to these athletes as mentors. If the people, they're young, the young people of America, the children of America, knew that that's what was going on, that they had an open use cannabis policy, which they basically do by Players Union Association agreement, then they would have a harder time looking up at these people as heroes. Wendy, hang on. We're going to break. We'll be right back.
Right.
You're listening to The Full Melt Show on The Full Melt Show.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hemp oil drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet. With superior taste, smell, and nutrition, we hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of Hempwell drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell, hemp health for pets.
If you missed the last Full Melt Show,
You missed a lot.
Yes, sir. We are just here to get you qualified, okay, for the lower interest rates.
this is a Visa card.
Okay, it's a Visa card, starts with 4, right?
So why do you need the numbers off the card?
I was going to let you know, what is your new interest rate going to be and what you qualified for, okay?
Well, wouldn't it be a security risk if I was to give my card number over the phone?
Sure, we are the one who sent you the billing statement every month.
Aren't you really just a liar? Aren't you just lying about this? Aren't you just trying to steal my credit card number? Oh, you are? You little piece of shit? You're a little fucking liar, aren't you? You're a little foreign piece of shit, aren't you? You're a little foreign fucking puke, aren't you?
That's what you are. You're fucking piece of shit.
Oh no! You get to suck my fucking. You get to suck my fucking American dick, you foreign piece of fucking shit. There you go. That's how you do that.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at rudoylaw.com.
Rudoylaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at rudoylaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
Wish your skin could bounce back like it used to? Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel instantly quenches skin to keep it supple and hydrated day after day. With hydrating hyaluronic acid, which retains up to 1,000 times its weight in water. This refreshing water gel plumps skin cells with intense hydration and locks it in. For supple, hydrated skin that bounces back. Hydro Boost from Neutrogena. See what's possible.
And now, a Planet Green Trees flashback.
That is the paradox. Like you can't make the civil employees rebut the presumption, right? The state just gave $8.5 million to this administrative agency to implement. I mean, the concept there is a little offset.
The police are still seem to be involved in it.
Nothing takes incentives away from police. In fact, it gives them more fish to shoot in the barrel.
Right.
The police are literally the regulatory agency for the entire program.
And why is that?
They needed their cut.
They're the only ones knowledgeable and responsible enough to handle it. This major public health and safety issue.
Don't miss the Planet Green Trees show. Thursdays at 8 Eastern on Spreaker. It's the Full Melt Radio Show. Going to end up going down as one of the most overplayed songs in the beginning of the end of this year. Let's see. They play this song more than I know out of any of the other alternative rock songs on the radio. This song. It's kind of cool because it's got a cool little hook that woman, you may be natural, little hook there. It's really cool, but the rest of it is agonizing to me. I can't stand the rest of that song. Woman, are you natural?
I am blessed to have never heard that song. I have never heard that song.
You've never heard that song?
No, I live in a cave.
Now I got to play it for you. I got to play.
All right.
So now I can't even remember who sings the song.
K.O.
No, yeah, right. Hey, I'm just gonna put the hook in here because I know Google knows the hook. Yeah, here it is, because everybody else is going to put the hook in there, too. It's AWOL Nation. It's Woman, Woman is the name of the song.
Woman, Woman.
Yeah, it's just a love song, but it's agonizing to listen to. The guy that sings that song, he's got just this groaning moan. Here it is. I don't know if you can
Let's hear it. Oh.
Broke from my swollen heart. Born in a simple time. Raised with the simple mind. You may be a natural woman. You may be a natural woman. You may be a natural woman. You may
You see, here's the thing. I always end up humming the part. The woman you baby natural thing, that thing is a cool little hook because there's like a double beat in there that they stitch together in a unique way, and it's catchy. But the rest of this part right here, this part right here is just agonizing to listen to me.
Turn it off.
Oh, it's just terrible.
Turn it off. It's a waste of airspace.
No,
Turn it off.
he screams the rest of that song. It drives me insane. And the thing is that most of AWOL Nations, there's a couple of other, I think there's like one other song that I'm kind of like part of, but again, the rest of the song is agonizing.
That's horrible.
They suck you in for the hook and keep you around to grind you into the stone. Speaking of being ground into the stone, I can't hear enough. It seems like the news wants to beat me over the head with Attorney General Sessions being nominated by our president-elect. Can we still say that? See, I get a little hair in the back of my throat when I say that.
Ooh, no, because, December 19th, Electoral College, they are trying to get that to do what they're supposed to do with that. I'm hoping for that. I know it's a false hope, but still. Don't make me say Trump, it hurts.
The Trump and trumpeting jokes can go on endlessly. Unfortunately, the jokes are all at our own expense. Seems to me. We're going to find out real soon, but the internet awash today with the question of where marijuana is going in this country, should Jeff Sessions be confirmed by the Senate. And I haven't heard any talking heads on the political shows talking about the odds of that happening. Because
they don't care.
Well, it seems that they did before. Jeff Sessions was turned down by the Senate when he was trying to be confirmed as a judge in 1986 over his racist views and statements. The Senate did not confirm him as a judge. So he ran for senator.
Right.
And it's been there for 19 years since. And this is what bugs me about the whole thing. Here you got Trump saying we want to drain the swamp, right? That's his big mantra. We're going to drain the swamp. And
put in new alligators, that's all.
Exactly. We're going to fill it back with the same diseased crap. And they're not even putting any new alligators in. It's the same old dead ones. I mean, Jeff Sessions
Here's a new boss, same as the old boss.
I'm just saying. Here he says he wants to drain the swamp, and here he's filling his cabinet with swamp heads.
Muck.
It's very frustrating. And this snapping gator is one of the biggest in the pond. I mean, not only is he a career politician, he's clearly racist. He referred to somebody as boy. He referred to a black guy as boy. Don't you talk to me that way, boy.
How old is he? Is he in his 70s?
I believe Senator Sessions is in his 60s, late 60s. But he was in his his 40s back in 1986 when he was trying to be confirmed as a judge. Which again, I remind you,
that's 30 years ago. So
Right.
he's got to be in his 70s.
Well, birds of a feather, I guess. We were about to. President-elect Trump is the oldest elected president to the bunch. I mean, he's older than Reagan was when he took office.
Reagan looks good at this point. We wish for Reagan and Romney, please. Anything but this.
No, I would not want to see Reagan again. No.
Compared to Trump? Really?
Well, Trump is going to end up a strange asterisk in the political spectrum, I think. When you
asterisk.
He's going to have an asterisk next to his name. Like you're going to see all the other presidents, and then his portrait's going to have an asterisk next to it.
I was going to say, never mind.
It's going to be footnoted down at the bottom of the page as the worst joke ever played on American history. It's what's going to happen.
But with lasting serious ramifications with Supreme Court picks and wanting to turn back the EPA and protections and fracking and coal. He's not just a threat to the U.S., but the whole world.
Well, and it's going to become quite apparent quickly as he, nuzzles up to Putin and these KKK leaders, these Aryan Nation assholes. Did you see the meetings that they had with the Heil Hitlering and stuff going on?
Oh my God, the Lufen, they're using the terms, German terms for lying press and taking the salute. I'm like, where am I? What dimension did I fall into? This is ridiculous.
It's like the Twilight Zone stepping back into the 30s. It is, except this is modern day America that this is happening in.
Radical. We make ISIS look good.
It's a terrible state of affairs. It's absolutely, and I'm not being cynical about this. I'm being serious.
No, that's just the facts. The facts are the facts. You can have your opinions. You're entitled to your opinions, but not your own facts. These are the facts.
So are you familiar with my friend? Let me see if we got enough time. We got enough time to do this. I think we do. Are you familiar with my friend Ed Fortune?
Mm-mm.
The New Jersey Weed Man, he's also known as?
Oh, yeah. No, Weed Man. Yeah.
So do you know his story at all?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he's a real advocate out there. I mean, he's like a powerhouse.
Well, he's a strong advocate. He's a known name, but I'm saying aside from knowing his name, do you know his story?
A little bit. I know some of the background. He keeps on getting busted. They're just like harassing him out there.
Right. Hang on. We're getting a text from reading a text. Hold up. It's an important text.
From?
It's another broadcaster.
Huh.
Hold on. Oh boy. So we'll hold on to the thought about Weed Man for a second. So
okay.
On one of the core radio channels we have that covered, there will be other projects down the road. What?
I hear a lot of static on the line. I don't know if our audience hears that.
No, you're not. It's just what you're hearing is the automatic gain control. Don't worry about it.
All right. Where's Dave? Dave needs to call in and give his opinions. I mean, he was on it the other day. There's a lot of people that are upset about what's going on, and that's a good thing as long as people don't get overwhelmed and disappointed and apathetic.
Right.
That's the hard part. People burn out. They got to go back to their daily lives, Being upset doesn't put, meatloaf on the table, so,
Right. Well, I was talking with another broadcaster. My friend Bob Bauer is going to be down at the Token Lounge in Westland, starting on the 25th, the day after Thanksgiving. And he's going to be collecting food for the homeless. This is for there is I don't have it in front of me now, so when I feel a little bit embarrassed, I'm promoting the thing and don't have. It's for one of the major food banks in southeastern Michigan. And so he's down there because he's done this, years and years in a row. There's been a hiatus in between the last time. I don't know. It's been a few years now, but he used to be down at 13 in Woodward with a big Mack truck trailer. And he broadcast live from that location on the stations that he was on. And then people would come down and donate food. And he's collected pallets and pallets and pallets of food for the homeless.
Wow, that's awesome.
He intends to do that again this year. I intended on helping him. It seems that his tech producer is a little lackluster, busy, and unsure about what's going on. So I offered him some assistance in being able to do live remotes out there.
That's cool, because that's what the season's about. It's not about getting a new gadget. Really, I think we should have this attitude all year long, but especially during the holidays. We should think about all the people that are disabled and sit home and don't have access to things. What we put on TV is not the reality for a lot of people. Some people need help, and we need to reach out to them. And to me, that's the real spirit of the holidays.
Well, Bob does this for a really good reason. People need him to.
Yeah.
The amount of food that he brings in at that location is huge. It's humongous. And
it's tremendous.
The people that depend on that volume of food to divvy up throughout the year are many. And as southeastern Michigan is depreciated in population, the percentage of population that is poor and needy is relatively large.
Well, the poor can't afford to leave.
That's what it comes down to. And there aren't any jobs left for the ones who are here. So in the spirit of supporting our American president, Sorry about that.
All right.
I want to say that I hope that the promise he brings of bringing all the jobs back is fulfilled. Because look,
I want to see him do it. Prove me wrong. I want to see him do all the stuff he said that was so tremendous. I don't believe it with his cabinet fix. I don't see that. It's more of the old crap, but worse.
I have a feeling that this is going to be disastrous.
Oh my God, disastrous is mild.
You've got the blind leading the impeccably misguided. And it
could be stopped, but Obama could stop a lot of it. The Electoral College could stop it. It is a train that does have an emergency brake, but people so apathetic. Again, that's not going to happen. I do know there's a petition where people are trying to write out Electoral College electors and say, I would like you to vote your conscience and the popular vote. This is what you're meant to do. This is the emergency brake. Pull it. I wrote that today to them. I said, look, you've got to do that.
The problem,
that's your duty.
The problem is, and I might be talking a little bit out of my ass on this one because I don't know for sure. I didn't look it up, but I'm going to speak it anyways. I believe when you're talking about the primary, that the delegates that you're talking about voting for you are they're not really bound by law. The delegates do the voting, and they get to vote. The Electoral College is a little bit different. I believe the Electoral College is pretty much bound by law.
No, they only have a couple states that only impose a $1,000 fine if you vote the other way. That's it, if at all. They are free to vote, and they're supposed to vote. That's why it was put into place, so that people, the dumb farmers, wouldn't elect some idiot, and the Electoral College could step in and correct it. So the most that they do is a $1,000 fine if they do that.
It would be well worth it. Look, I think there are many people who would pony up that prize for you to vote the other way if you're one of the guys that are having to, do the technical voting.
Yeah, we'll protect you. There's no jail time. There's no penalties. The only penalty is the social stigma from the political machine. So that's the problem.
Can you imagine, Wendy, if Hillary Clinton woke up off that roller coaster ride president because the Electoral College decided to vote her way?
It would be awesome.
Oh, God. So we'll come back and talk about New Jersey Weedmen. I'm going to play you a little piece that's actually from Vice TV. Vice TV went out and did a little segment on my friend New Jersey Weedmen. I'll play that right after the break. Hang on, Wendy. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Full Melt Show.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hemp oil drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet, with superior taste, smell, and nutrition. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of Hempwell drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell, hemp health for pets.
Attention. Get ready to write down a very important number.
Michael does not know how to fail. Second place is loser.
If you have a medical marijuana case and need legal representation, call the best, attorney Michael Comorn.
He's very passionate in the courtroom.
Getting the best outcome requires quick legal action, and it needs to start with one call, toll-free to attorney Michael Comorn. 800-656-3557. Write it down, 800-656-3557.
Michael Comorn gave us our life back.
Attorney Michael Comorn. Vigorous criminal defense.
Play-Doh Compound can help kids practice communication skills. Start by presenting the visual of the letter or word. Then ask them to mold the Play-Doh compound into the shape of the letters. It's an effective way to foster speech and even writing.
Ram trucks are reaching new heights when it comes to capability and efficiency. The Ram Heavy Duty is the most capable full-size pickup on the road today. And the Ram 1500 is the most fuel-efficient full-size pickup ever. So what does that mean? It means Ram trucks are built for the long haul. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
RootMetrics, in the nation's largest independent study, tested wireless performance across the country. Verizon won big with 153 state wins. AT&T got 38, Sprint got 2, and T-Mobile got 0. Verizon also won first in the U.S. for data, call speed, and reliability. AT&T got text. Stuck on an average network? Join Verizon, and we'll cover your cost to switch.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
The boy I love's got another girl. He might be fucking her right now.
Whoa, did she say that? She did.
I don't have an apartment. Thought if I was smart, I'd make it far, but I'm still at the start.
She'll make you fart, but she's still at the start. I don't know what that is. I don't get it.
Farting in the studio.
What's that?
No farting in the studio.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's not allowed. Studio etiquette, please, young lady. No. She says she'll make you fart, then get out of here. All right.
Scram.
Now that we got that cleared up. I promised you I'd play some New Jersey Weed Man. Let me see what I got here for you.
Let's do it.
We should call in Rick Thompson on this if he's around. Hang on. Here we go.
Well, if we want to.
Here we go. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Why is it not? Hold on. Why is it not playing? Get no audio out of this. Something's not right. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Get it? You must be Ed, New Jersey Weed Man.
New Jersey Weed. This is the restaurant. This is the menu. We even have a Christie burger.
Like Chris Christie?
Chris Christie.
Has Chris Christie been in for one of
his
burgers?
I've invited him, but
the Christie burger.
Come get a Christie burger. This was presented. It's called a joint legislative resolution, and it was commending me for opening this place in this economically depressed city. It also says, and its sanctuary, Liberty Bell Temple, which is through that door.
The sanctuary that Ed's referring to is the official temple for his cannabis congregation, and it's right next door to his restaurant. For $45 in a quick ceremony, you're given access to Ed's sanctuary to worship ganja whenever you want.
If you look around, there's several different religious symbols around. There's one down there on that wall. Basically, anyone who thinks that the herb marijuana is a sacrament, and anyone obviously who believes in a higher power, and when I say a higher power, I'm not only talking about herbs. There are Jewish people who come here, there are Catholic people who come here, and there are Muslim people who come here. I'm not shoving anybody's religion down anybody's throat, and they're coming here.
Explain to me what makes you a religious institution versus just a place where people like to hang out and smoke weed.
Calling this a sanctuary, whether it's religiously or socially, makes it like a unique place, and you can only describe it as religious.
I live around the corner. It's notoriously a rough neighborhood in this town, and it feels good to be able to go just a block away and just chill.
This isn't Ed's first cannabis church. He founded the original Liberty Bell Temple in 2008 back in California. He registered it as a Rastafarian temple and listed cannabis as part of his church's sacrament. Claiming marijuana as a religious sacrament has kept Ed in the gray area with the law. So when he came back to New Jersey, Ed was able to do the same thing with the Liberty Bell Temple.
The clerks kind of giggled, they snickered about it, but there was no rules saying I couldn't. So I did. I called it a cannabis temple. I didn't hide it from anybody.
Since the early 80s, there have been about a dozen of these churches popping up all over the U.S. But in the last few years, they've come under attack. Because regardless of their religious sacrament argument, marijuana is still federally illegal. And in Ed's case, he's not afraid to be very public about his church. This is not a coincidence that you open up your spot, your joint, right across from City Hall, a stone's throw away from the federal courthouse, and like 3 blocks away from the state courthouse. Right. You did this on purpose.
I did it on purpose. The cannabis consuming community should not be hiding in closets anymore. So to me, right here on State Street was like, hey, we've arrived to Main Street.
Intimidation still proceeds, but bitch, we out here.
Ed's trouble started after cops came by the temple one night, telling the group they needed to clear out. Ed argued that he was just peacefully assembling in his church and shouldn't have to leave. After that night, Ed says the police kept harassing him and his customers.
They would park their cars right here. They parked them around the corners. They did a good job of successfully intimidating people.
How much has your business been affected, honestly?
A 90% drop off.
So Ed responded by suing the city of Trenton over religious persecution. A few weeks later, his temple was raided.
On April 27th, the Trenton Police Department came here with a search warrant, and they incidentally got some weed. That's it.
One of Ed's customers who used to come to the joint agreed to speak with us as long as we kept her identity hidden.
What do you do?
I'm a paralegal.
And you work in this area?
Yes. It was said to me that I'm not allowed to come here if I want to keep my job. People have this view that there's drugs being sold here and that there's drug dealers here, and there's a lot of violence that happens out here in Trenton. And this is the only place that I've ever came that there's never been any fights. Everything is harmonious. That's something that's definitely healthy for the community.
I don't think I have any weed in here. I do need to double check. Oh, shoot. I do have weed in here. I don't want you to have it. They're not going to search me like that.
Today is day one in the state's case against Ed for the alleged weed found during the raid on his temple. Weedman knows he broke the law, but that's not his point. He believes the current marijuana laws are wrong and wants the jury to judge the law before they judge him. But if they vote against him, Ed faces more than a decade behind bars.
So that's your date, Tuesday, August 23rd. It's a week from Tuesday, 9 o'clock, sir, okay?
It's absolutely church versus state. If the police came into a church or into a temple and told everybody to get out, we'd all agree that that couldn't be done. But because Ed has his own independent religion, they're not recognizing that.
There is no doubt that what's going on at Ed's weed sanctuary is technically illegal. But after spending time with his congregation, the Liberty Bell Temple appears to be a safe, positive place in an otherwise rough and dangerous neighborhood. And I had to admire Ed's dedication in the face of serious jail time.
Why are you willing to sacrifice yourself for this cause?
I'm arguing religious freedom, and I'm arguing that the law is wrong, not I. And we're at the same point in history that, say, in 1929, someone caught violating alcohol laws when they were put on trial. Juries routinely said not guilty. And I think we're at that point now with marijuana, that people will reject the law if given the option.
And that's what it's about right there. Will people reject the law given the option? He's talking about jury nullification. That's what he's anticipating is going to happen in his case. Wendy, he thinks he's not going to go to jail for 12 years.
I hope not.
I hope not either. We need people like the weed man around, but I'll tell you what, he's got one of the most notorious, black-heartedest, rootinest, tootinest, gun-shootinest guys against marijuana on his tail. And that's Governor Chris Christie.
Oh.
He is the governor of New Jersey, and that's where he lives, in Trenton.
And he's going to stay. They're not going to put him in the cabinet. How about that?
Well, all for good purpose. I mean, Bridgegate was going to follow him around too much. Did you see all the bridge jokes they were telling on SNL? Oh, God, that was funny stuff.
I missed it.
They were saying he was on Jeopardy. He was Chris Christie was a guy on Jeopardy, a contestant on Jeopardy, and he said something about it was a bridge too far. Everybody booed.
The pun too far.
Oh, it went on and on. There were like 4 bridge jokes, and he told all the jokes himself. He delivered, the guy that was playing Chris Christie delivered all the jokes himself. It was self-deprecating. It was really funny.
And Christie hates marijuana. He hates it.
Well, he needs some.
He needs a lot. He's got some issues.
Well, this is one of those guys. He's power hungry. You give him a little bit of power, and he starts whomping it around like it's a freaking club.
Well, obviously he's an addict and can't stay away from Twinkies. He had to get the staple thing for his stomach.
That didn't even work.
He has no self-control. He's a food addict.
Well,
you don't see anyone putting him in jail for his health problems.
Well, no wonder he's against marijuana. He's afraid if he smoked a little weed, he'd be 3 times as high as he is.
But actually, marijuana, they show that marijuana users have a better BMI than the non-using public. So, it could help regulate. It just, for some people, they get those munchies on certain strains and chemistry of their bodies, whatever. But he's just an idiot. He doesn't like to use science or facts. He just wants to be blustery and bozo his way around.
As far as I'm concerned, the whole thing about munchies and marijuana is mostly hyperbole and what's the other thing?
Myth.
No, it's really not myth. There are times where marijuana creates munchies. It's usually in people who've never smoked marijuana.
Exactly, the newbies who aren't used to it, and it's like it activates all those centers and things start working the right way.
Everything tastes better on weed.
Well, of course.
Oh, what's this like on weed? Oh, what's that like on weed? Like I said, Chris Christie, he'd have popped by now, like the Oompa Loompa, like the purple.
Oh my God,
the purple Oompa Loompa. Who was a kid that ate the grape stuff at the chocolate factory and blew up?
I never watched that whole movie. I don't know. I don't like chocolate.
So you didn't watch Willy Wonka because you couldn't relate?
Well, first of all, Gene Wilder's a weirdo guy. Like, I love him, but he's just weird. Second of all, I don't care about chocolate. If chocolate never existed again, I wouldn't care.
That's what I said. So you because you can't relate. What are you, candy racist is what you're saying?
I am. I'm anti-candy, slave labor, Hershey chocolate racist, because that's what they use is child labor to produce Hershey chocolate. So, F it. No chocolate factory for me.
You've never been to Hershey, Pennsylvania, have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Really? She's like, if the place fell off the map, I'd never care. Well,
wow.
You got to look up the history of Hershey, Pennsylvania. It is an interesting story. I won't tell it here. But there's a whole. We're going to break anyway. So there's a whole history about well, there's a whole like school there. Hershey is a town, first off, and then they a lot of the money they make there, they all the kids there go to school for free or something. I don't know. Don't most kids go to school
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's something with the school there, but Hershey wouldn't have made it without government contracts and World War I. That's basically. Hershey would never have been on the map. M&M, Mars, they wouldn't have been competition.
Neither would have any of the corporate wealth.
And now, a Planet Green Trees flashback.
When do medibles have to be tested too? Is that also part of the caregiver?
Nope, that's only for the.
Will they have to be tested?
It's only for the dispensaries.
But there is a new restriction with respect to medibles in that patients can only make them for themselves.
Right.
And they've created new crimes for transfers outside of the caregiver.
They're very specific. But, I mean, it's not.
That's what we just talked about.
It's no more harsh than the manufacturer.
No. They can be transferred. The medibles can be transferred from the registered caregiver to the registered patient, but not beyond. And that's how they would expect you to interpret the law.
Don't miss the Planet Green Trees show, Thursdays at 8 Eastern on Spreaker. Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The NoSmell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a no-smell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about no-smell technology at NoSmell.com.
Don't stop chasing, wander while the day brings up. Here comes the sunrise and we'll see the sunset. Coasting by the ocean with some music, turn it up. We got the whole night, 360 days of this. All I'm talking wide, the memories will make you right. That always make you smile.
Happiness is calling at sandiego.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
My moderate to severe chronic plaque psoriasis made a simple trip to the grocery store anything but simple. So I had an important conversation with my dermatologist about Humira. He explained that Humira works inside my body to target and help block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to my symptoms. In clinical trials, most adults taking Humira were clear or almost clear, and many saw 75% and even 90% clearance in just 4 months.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ask about Humira, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists. Clearer skin is possible.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
And where down we go.
We are ticking down on the show here today. So, Wendy, remember I was telling you, we were talking before about California yesterday or the day before?
Yes, we were. Attempting to.
Yeah, trying to. Well, yeah, I didn't have the full story on marijuana, but I probably still don't. What I do have is an article today in the New York Times, and this talks about what Jeff Sessions could mean for legal marijuana. California Today. President-elect Donald J. Trump's choice to lead the Justice Department has roiled California's emerging marijuana industry, says the article. Justice supporters of marijuana legalization were celebrating voters' approval of the recreational use of the drug in the state. Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama entered the picture as Mr. Trump's choice for Attorney General. Cannabis is illegal under federal law, and if Mr. Sessions were to be confirmed, many supporters of legalization worry that his past remarks about marijuana could portend a crackdown. We need grown-ups in charge in Washington to say marijuana is not the kind of thing that ought to be legalized, Mr. Sessions said at a Senate hearing in April. Did you hear that? We need grown-ups in charge in Washington to say that marijuana is not the kind of thing that ought to be legalized. He said at a Senate hearing this April. Thomas Fuller, our San Francisco bureau chief, wrote on Monday, this is the New York Times speaking, about the fragility of the truce that existed between the federal government and the states that have legalized the drug. So what are we to make of Mr. Sessions, asks the article. We asked John Hudak of the Brookings Institution to explain. Mr. Hudak's research is focused on state and federal marijuana policy. His book called Marijuana, A Short History was published in October. Well, I'll have to look at that. How worried should California's emerging market industry be about Mr. Sessions? Well, as Attorney General, Sessions would have the ability to rescind 2 Justice Department directives known as the Cole and Ogden memos. They call for stepping back from marijuana prosecutions. He could also use federal law enforcement powers against operators and sue state regulators to block state systems. The only person who can stop the Attorney General is the president, and it's unclear whether Trump will direct or delegate drug policy, the latter option being what should worry California the most. What's your read on Mr. Trump's posture towards states with legal marijuana? Trump has made statements that seem supportive of our states' rights around marijuana and made others that are unclear. It's also unclear whether this policy he will direct from the White House or just let his Attorney General steer this ship. It all means pot policy in the U.S. is up in the air. What might a marijuana crackdown in California look like? First, the Justice Department would likely sue the state to prevent the enforcing of Prop 64. They could use other law enforcement entities outside of the Drug Enforcement Administration to begin physical crackdowns on existing operators. The law enforcement efforts would be expensive. The litigation approach might be cheaper and easier, if less effective. What does all this mean for the individual consumer? Well, it would be nearly impossible for the federal officials to arrest every marijuana consumer in California or elsewhere. But if the Trump administration strikes at the heart of the industry, shutting down the supply chain, it would drive producers underground and consumers back to the black market.
It'll just make it so that the legal marijuana is not available, but the black market cartel marijuana will be doing just fine. That's what's going to happen.
It's just
scary.
It's just bad. It's really bad.
And Obama could fix this. He could have rescheduled a long time ago. He still could. He's still president until January 20th. Why does he grow a pair and just prevent this disaster? He sees what's happening, and he still doesn't care. He still thinks it's okay to victimize his brothers in something that he and even his daughter was filmed engaging in. The hypocrisy makes me want to puke.
Like, why do you think every time I say president elect Trump?
It's like a hairball in your throat.
That's
like
exactly what I was
just
gonna say. It's like licking somebody's comb. Look at you. Look at it. It made me break a cigarette. Over all that.
So the worst thing is that we could still do something about it. We still have power. Obama's always he's such a wimp. Even when we had the Senate and the House, we could have done things. Democrats can never get anything done. And Republicans are going to bring it. They're going to get it done. Obama could stop it. I know some of it could be overturned. But he doesn't care because he wants to make sure he can get his book out after he's done with the presidency, and he gets his library, and he gets some cushy job somewhere. And Malia can keep smoking marijuana. But the rest of the blacks and the browns and the poor whites, they're going to jail.
Well, and the other thing left hanging around the neck of the Obama administration is its promise to let go thousands of nonviolent drug offenders who were unfairly sentenced under harsher drug laws.
Make room for new people that Trump's going to put in.
Each one of these thousands of people we're paying in the neighborhood of $40,000 a year to keep behind bars. Nonviolent drug offenders.
And to make them into better criminals once they get out with no support. Now they can't vote. Now they can't reintegrate. It just degrades our whole societal web. It's not helpful. It's not helping, except obviously corporate private prisons and the people that benefit from criminalized marijuana.
Look, the idea that people who committed a felony in the past shouldn't be allowed to vote is archaic and un-American. The American way is you go and you pay your debt to society, and then you are like a newborn Christian. You are forgiven for what you have done. You've paid your debt. It's over with.
The Puritans never forgive, and we're based on a Puritan society, and it just doesn't happen. It's a joke, and that's why part of the election went the way it did, because so many people, especially like in Florida, once you're a felon, you don't get your right to vote back ever.
Yeah. It's got to change, because what they've done by doing that is to say that by committing a certain offense, even if it's a nonviolent drug offense, it's just a possession offense. That you should not be allowed to have any say in our political process whatsoever. I think it's unconstitutional, and I think it is indeed cruel and unusual punishment given the nature of our society and what it's built around and our values in America.
If another country did this, we would say we need to invade you and bring democracy. But if we do it, it's just like, oh, that's always been done. It's good. The system's working. Don't worry about it.
So I'm getting some late-breaking news. Oh, by the way, did you see there was a murder yesterday in Lansing?
Oh, my God. No. What's going on down there?
A young man lost his life in front of the green room yesterday. Or in front of what was reported the green room. It's really the old place where the Greens used to live. And they had the downstairs and the upstairs. I don't know if you've ever been to the green room, or the Steve and Maria's place in Lansing?
Not really. I know who Steve and Maria Green are, but I don't know about this special place.
Well, they're divorced now and they don't live there anymore. Neither one of them.
Oh my goodness!
But the place where they used to live and downstairs from there, which used to be like Party Central, like after political events and such. The Lansing police were out there were all roped off because some guy got shot. It looks like he was shot in the head.
Wow.
And these are people.
Okay, so there's one marijuana-related death, but it's not from ingestion.
I wouldn't even call it a marijuana-related death. It happened out in front of a former marijuana-related person.
I know, but that's how not related marijuana is to all this crime, unless it's the cartels and the Mexicans are involved.
Right. All right, Wendy, we're at the end of another fantabulous show. It wasn't so fantabulous, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. I don't know if we're doing a Thanksgiving show or not. Tomorrow would be normally a day off, but I might do a show anyways. I think there's lots of stuff to talk about.
Well, hey, if there's people that want to hear, we'll be here.
We'll talk to you then.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.